We have Umais versus Big JP. And I think this is the triple bull. Umais' famous triple bull. I believe his caster is also on a bull mount. Then he has two of the non-hero, non-lord bulls. Don't see a ton of them. I experimented with them briefly. I played with the basic bull one game. And I was like, I think this is really good. And then I played it 2 more games and I thought it sucked. But the Great Taurus does have a good weapon strength, strong melee attack, fire damage, missile resist, fire resist, causes terror, things like that. Can be okay. We also have the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire on his own Bale Taurus mount, so he has the Fire Breath. Other than that, Fireball, Burning Head, and Cascading Fire Cloak. And then we have a second Bale Taurus with its own Fire Breath attack. On the ground, we do have 2 Infernal Ironsworn, a bunch of Chaos Dwarf Warriors and Goblin Laborers, and then we have Gorda's Backstabber. Butt naked. Just a little, essentially a Goblin Big Boss with slightly better stats. On the other side, for Big JP and the Lizardmen, 2 Ancient Salamanders for a bit of kiting, Colossadon Hunter, Ripperdactyl Regiment of Renown, 2 Croxagors, one of which is the Sacred Croxagor ROR, the Cohort of Waddle, Feral Cold Ones, Jab Skinks, Skink Skirmishers as a front line. We do have a Death Slan, Fate of Buna, and Spirit Leech. Gordas is trying to go in. And all 3 of the bulls kind of have overlapping wings right now, as they're a little clumped up. Ancient Sally's going to kite this out, while the Infernal Ironsworn sticking to the trees for now, moving up some more slowly so that they're maybe a little less susceptible to these salamanders, as a nasty fireball hits the Ripperdactyls and actually does a good amount of damage for just a fireball. First Spirit Leech is out. It's countered by the Sorcerer Prophet's own healing from his Chalice of Blood and Darkness, so his HP is going pretty much nowhere. I guess you gotta start taxing that HP early. Bloodstash of the Spite is out on the Chaos Warriors. Goblin Laborers are already routing away from the Jab Skinks and all that stuff. Vicious Velociraptors tear through these Chaos Dwarf Warriors. Actually get a really meaty charge and already take them down to half HP. My god. Croxagors join in after that. And I think soon the Dowizar will be routing for the hills. Gordas gets a little bit of poke on Ancient Sally, and then he gets chased off by Cohort of Waddle and Feral Cold Ones. But never mind, he's actually just going to stick into the fight. And that might be the end of old Gordas. All these crazy bulls jump in there. Any of them that are not the Sorcerer Prophet. Who's getting chased by the Colossadon? They rampage, so he tries to land in his own troops, maybe get to some safety there. He seems to be okay in the distance, as Gordas is not okay. Lost about a third of his HP, and his leadership is dipping. The bulls are sitting near fighting, using their impressive weapon strength versus everything around them, and they're also trying to charge up that blazing body. The longer they're in melee combat, the more intensity they get on those passives. Colossadon Hunter's in a bad situation. They don't like fighting all of these Jaff infantry plus the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire. They're not able to focus them down like they might be able to otherwise. They're having a bad go of it. Gordas is routing at half HP and falling. Another Great Taurus is also struggling around, but a Fate of Buna hits these Infernal Ironsworn. They're trying to get up and use their blasting charges on this big old clump before they start losing any models. And they are here. Let's see how much damage they do to the clump. As a Flaming Breath attack also comes in, there go all the blasting charges, and that is really respectable damage from those guys as the Bound Banishment starts ripping through them after they took the Fate of Venus, already in a bit of trouble. We are starting to see some tear-outs come in for some of the Feral Cold Ones, but there are still plenty of Croxagors holding it down. Lizardmen did not bring any healing of any kind, so all the damage onto them will stick. It's the Ancient Salamanders. There they both are. They're both fine. They're just kiting it out as best they can. Jab Skinks turning around to shoot at all of these Tauruses. And one of the Tauruses, the regular Great Taurus, is getting rather low. Colossadon Hunters joining the fight against targets they entirely want to deal with, but they're still just taking so much damage, either from friendly fire or from those Infernal Ironsworn grenades. Doesn't matter. They really just take too much damage to stick around. Chaos Dwarves are up on the balance power. The Ancient Salamanders continue to kite back along with these King Cohorts and the Death Slan. Javelins chucking in. Trying to finish off some of these Tauruses somewhere. How's their Blazing Body doing? 22% charge. That's not bad. Got 2% physical resistance. Another Fate of Buna is out onto the Infernal Ironsworn, it looks like. Croxagors have abandoned the blob fight and instead are going for these Infernal Ironsworn that are scattered around. As Lizardmen continue to kite away, the Chaos Dwarves are suffering a lot of attrition from this time. Ancient Sally's firing at the Infernal Ironsworn. Now, the Infernal Ironsworn do have 25% fire resistance, but still, those Ancient Salamanders should be able to do some good damage to those clustered up guys. Big blasting charge shot onto these skin cohorts, though. Oh, takes them down. Down, down, down. Cohort of Waddle getting caught out. Same with the Croxagores. They might just have to turn the fight, or they'll get chased down by these flying bulls for quite a while. Ancient Sally's kiting out the Infernal Ironsworn. I only see one healthy Chaos Dwarf warrior left. Everything else for the Chaos Dwarves is very tattered. I know there's a full health Goblin Laborer, but that literally doesn't matter. Like, it's a nonsense unit. It's not going to change how anything goes here. Alright. Bale Taurus uses a Flaming Breath attack, but the Cohort of Waddle are too staggered for it to really hit correctly. And they're just trying to group up these Chaos Dwarf warriors. They get Cascading Fire Cloak and stuff. And this is fine, but I think the Ancient Salamanders will soon turn and fire at this big clump before it disperses. Javskink's trying to get what damage he can on the Source of Prophet of Fire. And his Chalice of Blood and Darkness is on cooldown again, which means he's been getting a ton of healing. I wonder where his healing cap will end up. Ancient Sally's continuing to kite out the Chaos Dwarves, just slowly making them suffer attrition damage. And it's getting a little spooky for Lizardmen. They don't have a lot of DPS left. Blood Statue of Spite hurts the Infernal Ironsworn. And that is the last Blood Statue we have. We still have a Bound Banishment. Still maybe have some Spirit Leeches. I don't know what's going to kill the three big spooky bulls. Ancient Sally's getting another good shot with the Infernal Ironsworn. 7 volleys and 7 volleys still for these guys. And the Skink cohorts have a lot of ammunition. Cohort of Waddle have a lot of their models left. And that's a landing animation if I've ever seen one. Oh, God, that was a disaster. Okay. All right. Seems fine. Burning Head going to go down the line. Hit all 3 of these Skink skirmishers. Skink cohorts with javelins throwing at the Infernal Ironsworn, who are routing now. The other Infernal Ironsworn are also routing. The Lizardmen don't exactly have the tools to make sure that they keep routing. Spirit Leech onto the Source of Prophet of Fire and his Chalice of Blood and Darkness again procs more healing for him. To make sure that none of that Spirit Leech matters. Ancient Sallies have got away, but what can they do? Feral Coldwin's going to chase down Infernal Ironsworn, but Gordo's Backstabber is back! He's back and he's ready to party. He's going to rear charge the Feral Coldwins, do just fine there, I imagine. Bale Taurus taking some damage from the Cohort of Waddle and the Clawston Hunters, but just finishes off the Clawston Hunters nice and easy. Gordo's with his rear charge on the Feral Coldwins to shatter them away. Skinks, Ancient Salamanders, everybody's firing at this Sorcerer Prophet. In the distance, the regular Great Taurus is still chasing stuff off the battlefield. Another Spirit Leech out onto him. His healing is on cooldown for now, so he doesn't get a free proc from that. And there's his heal cap. Took a while, but we got there. Ancient Sally's 3 and 4 shots, respectively. The Bale Taurus still having a tough time finding the last of the Cohort of Waddle. These guys just don't know when to quit and take that Bale Taurus below half HP. Ancient Sally's think about firing at Gordo's Backstabber. Is that worth your time? I mean, they hit him, but is he a threat? Oh, God, they just murdered him. Cohort of Waddle, Terror Route, while Gordo's naturally routes. And these ski coats of the Javelin still throwing away. The Ancient Sallies are going to 2v1 fight the Bale Taurus for a little bit. And 15 seconds till the next spell from the Salon will actually end up healing the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire. Skinks are all poking away at him. The Cohort of Waddle are even back and maybe charge into this Bale Taurus. Though the Lord Diving In might convince them otherwise, they do need to get into melee combat for that Dazed effect. There's another Spirit Leech, but unfortunately the Chalice of Blood and Darkness is off cooldown, so he's actually going to heal from it overall, though it does bring his healing cap closer and closer to the end. Still have an awful lot of Skinks, so they're running low on ammunition. Ancient Sally's trying to duel it out in melee with 33-30 for melee stats. They're pretty meh in that aspect of the Cohort of Waddle fight to the very end. They literally die while in combat. Ancient Sally's trying to get away. Lizardmen continue to poke. And all 3 of the Tauruses are united once again. Chaos Dwarfs have some Infernal Ironsworn who did manage to get back into the fight for a brief moment. Other Chaos Dwarf warriors closing in. A full health Death Salon, though he's probably out of Winds of Magic. Oh, another Spirit Leech. Never mind. Still has a little bit left in the tank, apparently. Uses it on the Sorcerer Prophet, whose healing is on cooldown. All 3 of the Bale Tauruses are trying to chase him Salamanders, 1 shot left, and they're going to use it on the Infernal Ironsworn. Slann gives himself and his Skinks shield the old ones damage resistance and leadership aura as the Skinks use the last their ammunition into these bulls. But soon they're going to have to turn and fight, otherwise they're just leaving their Slann out to dry. Big burning head through these lines as their leadership is already faltering. That will rout off one of the Skink Skirmishers and just do damage to the other one. The Great Taurus is very low, so is the Lord, but the Bale Taurus still has 4,000-ish HP. Ancient Sally's coming back into the fight, trying to get here to support the Slann. Chaos Dwarf Warriors will support the Bale Tauruses in their own right. The Slann uses another Spirit Leech 3 seconds before the Chalice of Blood and Darkness would have been up. That is probably the best timing he could have gotten. Oh, wow, it procs anyway because the enemy spell was still going. That seems... okay. It feels like the Chalice of Blood and Darkness is way too forgiving. It'll just always proc no matter what. Because if I was a tabletop player, I'd say, wait, it says when a spell is cast within the range. It was already cast earlier. It was just still going in effect. It wasn't still casting. So, I'm calling some bullshit there. 2,200 health left on the Sorcerer Prophet. 3,500 still for the Bale Taurus, but he throws down the Cascading Fire Cloak on himself. The Salamanders get a downhill charge. They're going to get some Skink support soon. And the Slann Mage Priest of Death has taken some damage, but he gets to safety for now. Skinks firing what little ammunition they have occasionally into these Infernal Ironsworn into the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire, who's at 2,000 HP, and holding for now. The Ancient Sallies aren't getting much done. Slann Mage Priest of Death is recommitting to the fight. And now he's surely got to be out of Winds of Magic, man. He casts like 2 or 3 Fate of Bunas, a bunch of Spirit Leeches. This is absurd. Sorcerer Prophet's getting close to routing. And if he routs, how long does that Bale Taurus hold? Yeah, he does rout. Oh, that is brutal. Ancient Sally's going to try and chase him off the field. Maybe try and get rid of him. Hope that the leadership spike is enough to get rid of this Bale Taurus that's chasing down the Slann Mage Priest of Death. But instead, the Salamanders have to just turn around and take the fight back to this thing with their Toad Master. It is a 3v1 on top of Skink Skirmisher support. How can the Bale Taurus possibly hold in this situation? Doesn't look like he's going to, as his leadership bar is blinking, and he starts to get out of here. Sorcerer Prophet of Fire might come back. If the Slann casts any spells anywhere, if he has the Winds of Magic, for God's sakes. Anyway, if he casts any spells that will heal up the Sorcerer Prophet and guarantee he returns, Breath Attack takes a cool 400 HP up the Slann Mage Priest of Death, while the Ancient Salamanders will rout off these Goblin Laborers. We do have a Fertile Ironsworn trying to rejoin the fight. Looks like that's about it for stuff that'll come back. Sorcerer Prophet Fires at 0 leadership. Can the 2 naked Tauruses do it? Great Taurus lands in. Skink Skirmishers will have to turn around and help out a little bit. The Slann Mage Priest of Death is barely clinging to life. But the leadership tanks for the Great Taurus. It is gonna leave. There it goes, leaving just the Bale Taurus all alone. But even with just the Bale Taurus, the balance power shifts heavily into the favor of the Chaos Dwarves. Infernal Ironsworn are here. They immediately tear out off, but the Bale Taurus continues to keep hitting the Slann Mage Priest of Death. It's down to 763 HP. 243 is now terror outing. And Army losses hits. Are you kidding me? Army losses hits without the Slann. That was a lot. That was a lot to process. Okay, well that happened. 2,900 for the Bale Taurus Lord. 3,300 for the Bale Taurus Regular. And 700 for the Great Taurus. Gordas and the Infernal Ironsworn, mixed value overall on them. I'm not sold on Gordas, personally. For Big JP, his Slann, 3,800 value, which is amazing. Clawson Hunter struggled. Kroxigor struggled, but the Sacred Kroxigor ROR did great. Ancient Salamander Kite also did pretty well. The Feral Cold ones did okay. Skink Skirmishers, Skink Cohorts overall did fine. GG. Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.